be careful what you wish for, because NASCAR is now giving you this, and you are finding out why we stepped away from this to begin with.
The goal is to win multiple races this year. If I could get 2 wins in a season, that would mean a lot to me.
I love it when someone just kind of goes out on their own and just like sees if it works out, or they just get crushed and go back.
NASCAR kind of made a whoop-de-woo over here to kind of cover that up. And I think James Small I don't think he was the only one that was mad about this.
My favorite reporter, Heather. My favorite reporter.
What was it like for you growing up in this environment around this sport?
It was amazing.
I say sit them out. You can't race. Next 2 races, don't come because we're not letting you in.
Just because those channels are free and available doesn't mean that every conversation is meant for everyone.
I consider myself a fan of the sport. I care about the sport. Been around it my whole life. You know, I want it to be successful.
You guys are like the last great single car team in the garage area. How do you...
That's right.
You're a car dude, right?
Yeah, I love cars.
Okay, I'm a car person. My dad actually worked for Ford when I was a kid growing up. Welcome back on to the Backstretch Podcast. Heather Williams alongside our crew chief, Chris Carrier, who's also the crew chief for the number 75 Henderson Motorsports truck in the Craftsman Truck Series. Chris, this season technically hasn't started, but we already had some drama and chaos with a trophy presentation and a check at the quarter-mile stadium, which is Bowman Gray.
Yes, ma'am. It has started. We are here. We are going. And it didn't take long for the chaos to take over and the excitement that comes along with it. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think a pretty good show, a lot of entertainment at Bowman Gray, some cold weather, as you well know, and everybody soldiered through it and got the thing in, and good for Ryan Preece. Big day for him.
So we'll start there with what matters, what doesn't. So Preece gets the win, his first Cup win. Yes, it's an exhibition. So does it matter?
It absolutely matters because he won the race. He beat everybody that was there, and they were all trying to win the race. And that's all the guys that he's going to be racing against all year long. And you know, it's a small track, flat track. No pit stops, this, that, and other. You can say no points, that's, that, and other. But at the end of the day, it's still all the Cup Series teams and drivers that were out there trying to take the trophy home with the checker flag. And I guarantee you down inside, everybody else was disappointed they didn't get the win like Ryan Preece did. Good day for him, and I think a lot of people in the sport very happy for him because he's a true racer. He comes from the modified ranks. And modified drivers were there, even though they weren't racing. They were there and roaming the pits and walking around and talking. And he had a lot of friends. So I'm sure there's a lot of people this week are going to be very happy for him.
All right,
you know,
so it matters for Preece, but what about the guys that didn't win? Because there are no points on the line.
Nope.
Does a strong finish matter, or is it just a consolation prize?
I think at that level, it does matter that they ran good because it makes it. I'm not sure how the drivers really feel about it.
Well, is it driver specific? And I said that because okay, well, I mean, a 4th place finish for Daniel Suárez, first time out in the Spire car, means more than like a 7th place finish for maybe Joey Logano. I don't remember where he finished, but right?
I agree 100% with that. Anything you can do with a new team, a new mixture of people. They want to, you know, getting that confidence in one another, getting that communication, that communication background, getting that foundation of working well together, knowing what to expect, knowing how you're going to react to your driver, your crew chief, your crew members, whatever. That is critical. And the next race they go to is Daytona, the biggest race of the year. And let's face it now, we're starting out, this is going to be a long season. It's
so
like
I
36
sidetracked you a
races.
little bit with that question.
Yes, but
so
that's okay.
back to, does it matter, does it not matter? If you didn't win, does it matter?
I think it does matter some to, like you say, Joey Logano running 7th. Does that do anything necessarily for his team with as much experience that they have together? No, not really. They're just getting in a race for their company and their sponsors, and they're there doing what they do. Now, I guarantee you, Joey Logano, when he was close enough to the front, he thought he could have a chance. He was probably driving his guts out. But for guys like let's say like Carson Hocevar, now
or Connor Zilisch.
They were there. SVG, they were there. They were close. They had a chance. They were in the lead. They bumping and grinding and beating around and everything like that. I guarantee you their heartbeat was sky high, man, and they were having fun. And I actually saw Carson Hocevar yesterday at the pull-down rig at Spire. We were there pulling down our truck, and he was there for a few minutes. And I just asked him, I said, was that fun? He said, oh, it was real fun. He said, I just wanted to win. And he said, I could tell he's frustrated that he didn't win. That's another kind of different case. He's got time with Spire Motorsports, but he's looking for his first win, and it's coming. He knows it. Everybody else knows it. He just wants to get it done, and he almost did get it done. So I think it's a positive thing for drivers and teams like that. Some of the rest of them, it's just like, okay, we got that over. Let's go to Daytona and get out of this cold. Let's get in some good weather.
Well, I think that was universal. Everybody wanted to get out of the cold. I think even Ryan Preece at Victory Lane mentioned how cold it was. All right, hang tight, Chris. We're going to come back in a minute to you. Right now, let's start out to Turn 5 and this week's guest, Austin Dillon. You have a week and then Daytona. I know it's been a wild offseason for most of racing, but yours has not been too crazy. How's the offseason gone? What's kind of the excitement, confidence level going into the year?
I think we're really excited from the racing standpoint. I mean, I've got the continuity of my team coming back, a lot of the same faces. Looking forward to the new Chevrolet body. I think it's going to perform well at all the tracks that we go to. Just, excited from that standpoint from the RCR side. Yeah, and my family, we had a great offseason, going to different places, getting to enjoy each other and be around each other. Really took it easy and just excited for Daytona and all that's to come in this 26 season.
Seems like from a NASCAR perspective, you don't have much change, but there's been a lot of change in the offseason. Maybe the headline or the biggest thing is the move back to the chase from the playoffs. What's kind of your feeling? You're a guy that when you get rolling, you can tick off a lot of top 10s and be consistent. So I would think, from your perspective, you can get in, you feel pretty good about this system.
Yeah, I do. My 2 championships come from being consistent. I think the biggest thing at the cup level is you got to have the speed and performance behind you. That helps the consistency part of it. And I think we've learned a lot from stage racing that you have to stay aggressive to be able to gain stage points. So one focus or emphasis for us is to gain more stage points this year. But for me personally, the goal is to win multiple races this year. If I could get 2 wins in a season, that would mean a lot to me. We've been able to win one a lot of different seasons throughout my career, but I'd like to win 2.
You are a guy, I feel like, too, that is always like off the radar. Like people always underestimate you. Do you like that? Does that fuel you?
Oh, for sure. It fuels me. I don't want them to see me coming. Work in the dark and get better every time. So, that's about it.
Daytona in a couple of weeks. Obviously, that's a great track for you. What is it going to be like for you guys to go down there? You sound like you're super confident right now.
I think we're just all looking forward to seeing what kind of speed we have, what kind of cars we're going to take. And Daytona has always presented itself well to RCR racing. So we definitely get excited going down there.
All right. I'm going to end this with kind of a oddball question. I know you guys get asked a lot of crazy things or repetitive things. What's maybe like the wildest thing going into the year that you get asked?
Wildest thing going into the year that I get asked? Yeah, I'm not sure. Wildest thing, just maybe.
Or just craziest or weird. I mean, I know that there are some questions, especially that Daytona Media Day. There are some questions that are out there.
Yeah. Probably family dinner questions, like what's your family talk about at dinner at Thanksgiving? Those questions are kind of funny and interesting because they all assume that we just talk about racing 24/7. So, yeah, I don't know. Ace Man's been wild right now. Blaze, I get more funny questions from those two. I went and talked to his class the other day, which was very cool, and really enjoyed getting to do that and explain what I do. And Ace kind of led the class, and I got some really good questions about how fast we go, and always, where do you go to the bathroom?
So maybe oh gosh, well, maybe we need to hire the kids then to ask some questions. I bet Ace was like the king for the day at school after you came and gave your talk.
It was pretty cool. I can't wait to go back and hang out with him and his buddies.
Back with our crew chief, Chris Carrier now, and it's time for Say What? We're going to play some radio chatter each week, and then we can react to it. Let's start with a little frustration between Daniel Suárez and Bubba Wallace.
Aquí, go tell the spoiler of the 23. If he does that one more time, I'm going to kick his and the 97, I'm coming for him. Copy, will do. Hey. You told me. I know, but you're running into me for no reason. He's running into everybody for no reason if you haven't seen this.
Chris, afterwards, Suárez said it was kind of more of a misunderstanding. He wasn't really all that mad with Bubba, but, do you think little spats like that happen in Bowman Gray stay in Bowman Gray?
Maybe some. I'm not so sure. I would say always no. I think when drivers run together on the racetrack wanting the same ground or piece of ground at the same time, there's always a disagreement about it, and I think that it's at least one of them are sure that ground should have been theirs rightfully, and that the other guy just took advantage of him. And these guys are kind of sometimes like elephants. They got a long memory, and it'll come back down later on. Now, they also get a time to get away from it, cool down a little bit, and say, okay, maybe some of that was my fault. Maybe, and they might get a little bit of comments from their own team, right, their crew chief, to say, hey, this isn't worth tearing our cars up now. You got to remember that let's look at the, quote, big picture. But, this here probably won't go too far, I don't think. But if they have rumbling down the road again together, then it may spark this memory of like, wait a minute, what about Bowman Gray? You wrecked me. I'm just going to run over your high end. So anyway, we'll see.
All right, so the second clip comes from Chase Briscoe's crew chief, James Small, who is unhappy about NASCAR letting teams refuel after a couple of cars ran out of gas.
All right, apparently we're going to pit road this time so everybody can refuel. This is complete bull. Like, you were meant to start the race full. These started the race full, so it's their own problem they're running out of fuel.
So, Chris, why is Small so upset?
Heather, I think he's got a good point. I think that I wasn't there, wasn't part of it, but I believe it was, kind of out there that you have to start this race full of fuel. There is a reason for that, because if you have less fuel, okay, you still have to weigh the minimum weight, but that can be in weight that you add to the frame rails down low instead of at the back of the car behind the rear wheels and up a lot higher, and it would help the handling characteristics. What it does is lower the center of gravity. Okay, still at the same minimum weight, and it was kind of apparent that some of the teams didn't do that. And they were running out of gas way early under caution, which it kind of put like a spotlight on them. They had a lot more caution laps than they had planned on.
And they don't count.
And they don't
count in this race.
They don't count, so that makes a difference. And then it's like, okay, we better let everybody fuel up, or they may all run out of gas, and it's not going to look good. So NASCAR kind of made a whoop-de-whoop over here to kind of cover that up. And I think James Small I don't think he was the only one that was mad about this, because that's something that everybody would probably do and put a lot of thought in, but the rule was supposed to be, take that away, you have to start the race full of fuel. That's not an uncommon thing to do, and that's not hard to check. You can see the fuel up in the overflow valve, the tube. So I get it. I know why he's mad about that, and I kind of get it. And, there might have been some others that kind of did the same thing and got away with it until the end of the race. I think he had a good point.
Yeah,
I think he had a good point.
I'm sure I agree. I think he had a great point. I mean, they got rewarded for trying to cheat the system, and the people that actually played by the rules and were going to benefit from it
That's right.
I think it all ended up in the wash because the Hendrick car didn't win, but it was very interesting nonetheless.
Yep.
I'm sure that talk is very tame compared to what we heard throughout the season. So as Chris says, stay tuned. It's time now for another conversation from the backstretch. This week, we bring in Daytona 500 Grand Marshal, Nate Bargatze.
Hey, Nate, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. So I guess we'll just get right to the big part here. Grand Marshal, the Daytona 500. How exciting is this for you?
Yeah, very exciting. I mean, it's like the thing about your whole life growing up. So, you don't know how to get there. And it's not like I even knew the plan to become Grand Marshal, but to get asked to do it, and it's, I mean, it's just, it really is an honor to get to do it. And I mean, just the people that have done it before. And then it's just like, I think it's everybody's dream just to be able to tell them to start their engines. I mean, it's just, really, I don't know. You're like, it's fun to, you get them fired up. You kind of get the Daytona 500, obviously, is such a big race. It's my favorite race of the year. And so to be the Grand Marshal is a true honor.
So you're from Nashville. Did you grow up a race fan? How did you get into racing?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up watching it, and then I started probably watching it a little bit more when I was like 17, 18, something like that, and started getting into it then. And then, then you start doing comedy, get busy, and it's a mix of like how you do everything with sports. But I've always been a NASCAR fan, and I mean, just some of the races when they just are, it's just so crazy how, it's going so fast, and like just, I don't know. I like showing people where I'm like, dude, they're going, like how fast they're going and how close they are to each other. And then the drafting and the pulling off. And I love it when someone just kind of goes out on their own and just like sees if it works out, or they just get crushed and go back. And so NASCAR's, it's a sport that's obviously been around for a long time. And being in Tennessee, we have a speedway there now, but we have the fairgrounds. There wasn't, I don't think, they might have done NASCAR back in the day. But it was a much smaller track. So it's funny. You got Bristol, which is, that's the big one for us in Tennessee, is like just because that's such a cool track. I played on video games some too. I always go to Bristol.
I'm from Bristol. I'm actually in Bristol now. So
yeah. That's what they told me. And I've always, y'all become the biggest city or third biggest city or something in Tennessee.
Yeah, on race weekends.
Yeah, I've always told everybody that. I always love that in Bristol y'all become that. And now you're playing football in there. So you got a lot.
And baseball.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah, a lot going on. So Grammy winner now. Hello. Congratulations. So awesome. And you have a movie coming out. So can you just talk a little bit about, I guess, the movie and branching out from just comedy? I mean, obviously you've done Saturday Night Live. You got a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a ton. I just keep going, I think I'm just waiting for someone to say no. And I think eventually they'll stop me. But it's, the Grammy thing was crazy last night. You have no idea. I was just at home. And then the movie is, I wrote this movie, and I you just want to make movies for, when you go look at movies, there's not a lot that you can go see with the whole family and that everybody can go to. it's kind of just a throwback to the movies that were made, like Home Alone and Mr. Mom and all this kind of stuff that you kind of grew up watching. And so I just wanted to create that, and it kind of fits with my stand-up that I want everybody to be able to come to something that I do, and that's what the plan was with this movie. And I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited. I'm used to with stand-up comedy and SNL, like you get an immediate reaction, so you know if something's good or not fast. And so it's been interesting with the movie that having to wait, to see what is going to happen. But I'm ready. I want it to come out. I'm excited. I'm excited and ready for it to come out. And hopefully it does great, and hopefully get to do more.
So you compared it to Home Alone and Mr. Mom. So can we expect like shenanigans in this movie? Is this like?
Yeah. A lot of shenanigans. It's very similar. It's like it's very a newer version of Mr. Mom, kind of, where my wife goes to work and I stay at home dad. But it's really, as the movie came, it was like this thing that was like being a stay-at-home dad, and then now it's really become like kind of a love letter to moms and just how much they do, and then just the flip-flop of what they go through, and not being like just like a dad that doesn't know anything, but a dad that's got to figure it all out and play in a new role that he has not played in. And so we have three wonderful actors that play my daughters in this movie, and they're just so funny. And the whole crew, everybody came really close, and I like that. I like when you're doing something, I like to feel like it's a kind of big family making something, and I think we were able to do that, and hopefully it shows in the screen.
All right, so to wrap it up, I'm going to bring it back to the Daytona 500. Now that you accomplished this, now that you're going to be the Grand Marshal, do you rehearse? Do you have a plan in your head as to what you're going to do?
I'm going to go watch some of the previous ones that did it, but I think you got to definitely bring it. You got to make it yourself. I'm not a big, I don't want to do anything too crazy. I'm a big tradition honor. I don't like to, whatever this, I don't want to mess it up. That's the big thing. You want to just kind of go do it and stay true to how you're supposed to go do. When you do a first pitch, I'm never going to be the most fun. I'm not going to do something crazy on a first pitch. I like to treat it with the respect it's treated. So, but obviously being me, I'll have my flair to it. Maybe it will be low, instead of high energy, maybe I will go low energy to keep the move, they have a different vibe where it's like, hey guys, do you mind starting your engine? It may be like that. It's a very polite, because what if they don't want to start their engine? I can't force them to. So
if there's a driver that says no, I want to make sure I have a camera on that. No,
yeah, we should. Maybe he appreciates it. He goes, you know what? I appreciate that.
All right, Chris, let's put a bow on Bowman Grange Stadium before we kind of look ahead to Daytona here in a week and a half. What do you think the future is of the Clash?
I think the biggest question mark, there's the elephant in the room, is the weather. At the 1st of February in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, that it's going to be hard to find a day or days in that time period that the weather's going to be very good for a race there. Now, you said it best before we started here this evening. Really, they need to give them the All-Star race in May. I think maybe that would be the best thing. I'm not sure if that would fit in the format or whatever, but to me, that would be a great addition, and I think Bowman Gray would have people hanging off the light poles and everywhere else to, in that place to watch that. The racing itself, I think now the drivers and the teams have had 2 shots at it, and they're figuring out, and I promise you that there's drivers thinking of okay, how could I change my line? What could I have done with my braking or my throttle work or whatever to run better, to bend where Ryan Preece is, so crew chiefs and race engineers as well, they're already thinking about, okay, how can we do this better? How can we make our cars better? What can we do to give ourselves a better chance of winning this race? It's like anything else. It's a football game. A coach says, what could I have done to make my team win the game next time I play these guys? So I can't really predict what the future is, because there's an issue with the weather. If it wasn't for that, I'd say it's going to be something every year.
You know, I saw a lot of people, I know, I should not go on social media, but I've seen a lot of people complaining about the racing. They didn't really care for that style of racing, to which I say, this is a perfect example of what NASCAR fans are, right? Because they have opined and begged and pleaded with NASCAR to go back to old tracks and old style racing, and we want full season points, and we don't want this. Be careful what you wish for, because NASCAR is now giving you this, and you are finding out why we stepped away from this to begin with. I love Bowman Gray. I think it's great. I didn't mind the racing this weekend. I thought it was pretty entertaining, or weekend. It was Wednesday, but felt like a weekend. Yeah. It actually felt like 3 weeks, as long as it took to get that race in. But I lived through the first time that we did some of these things. And I'm old enough to remember, so be careful what you wish for. You asked for this, NASCAR fans. Congratulations.
The racing, it's just like you said. Now this is as close as we can get in 2026 to what we had maybe in 1976, 50 years ago. This is, you know, back then we were even kind of done with the Bowman Gray type racetracks, maybe go even further, but this is the smallest track you're going to find, and it is an existing track that in their season, in their regular season, year after year, they do very well. As far as fans coming, they pack the place. Every night they run, every Saturday night they pack that place full of stands, and those fans are full of excitement and full of their opinions, and they let them know, and they got their favorite drivers, and there's rustling and bustling going on, and I'd say, man, if we had some radio chatter from one of those races.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Even with, it would just be a string of beeps. I wouldn't be able to get anything on the air.
Yeah, yes, it'd be pretty good. And then, you know, the fighting on the racetrack, the cars crashing into one another, it's pretty old school. Pretty old school as you're going to get. And we're taking the Cup Series there, which I'll be honest with you, you know, 15 years ago, we wouldn't even thought about that.
No, I think it's great, but I'm just saying, you asked for it, now you're complaining, and I just need to get that off my chest. Yeah. All right, so let's look ahead now, putting a bow on the Clash. There is now a quick turnaround to Daytona. What is the biggest challenge or the biggest thing on the minds of the teams as they have, like, you know, 4 or 5 days to turn over and get down to Daytona?
Well, I'm going to say that the vast majority of the Cup teams, and really everybody else, but you know, right now their cars are already done. You know, maybe some little bitty tweaking left before they load up early in the week to go to Daytona to race next Sunday. And Daytona 500 is I still think is the biggest race in the world. It's the most iconic, and for Cup teams, it certainly is. The only thing I can think of is, like, man, you're going from the slowest, smallest, flattest, most beat and bang racetrack that's on the whole schedule by far, going to now Daytona, which Daytona and Talladega are the biggest racetracks we have, the fastest racetracks. It's all about brute speed, raw speed. Little bitty things to do with the body make difference on how fast that car will go, how fast it will run, how well it would race. At Bowman Gray, you're like, okay, you run into somebody, take a hammer and beat it out, and then you go on. Or not, or just leave it. Don't even worry about it. Put a piece of duct tape on it. I think it's changing the mindset. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a challenge because of how long everybody was at Bowman Gray, how close it actually came to being in Daytona 500 week, and then going and now have to look at Daytona. I think it's just a turnaround. Get that off your mind. Focus on the things that's going to make you competitive for the biggest race of the year. So we'll see. There's always a lot of interesting stories that come from Daytona 500 week, like who's got the best cars? Are the Toyotas, the Fords, the Chevrolets, and now in the Truck Series, the Dodges, who's got the best mindset, who's got the best strategy, who's found the speed, you know, and it's about more of the teams than really the drivers until at least Sunday during the race. You know, a lot of build-up.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun week. So
yes.
Thank you, Chris, for joining us.
Yes,
thank you guys for watching us on the Backstretch. We will see you next week. The Backstretch will be in Daytona, so come back and see us.